Hey guys, so here's like an experimental, there's like a whole bunch of experiments in here. My brother was LARPing about jimping, so I decided I wanted to do some jimping a little bit. Not everybody likes jimping. One of the reasons I wasn't doing jimping before, well, there's two reasons. One is when you're making 200 knives and you have to do jimping on a bunch of them, that's a shitload of jimping and you start getting tired of it pretty quick. But the other one is when I was fishing pike, you stick your hands in their mouth, your fingers, your thumb gets completely covered in like cuts. And so what happens when you have jimping, if your thumb is injured, that jimping digs into that cut and it's very uncomfortable. The knife is almost unusable. So I think this was really just for fun. I wasn't trying to like invent anything new, and of course, clearly any Americans watching will know immediately that this looks like a frontier, a frontier blade, like a skinning knife, butcher knife. Um, I think it's amazing to me, like the closer I get to like the ideal design that's used for everything, like your everything knife, the closer and closer and closer it looks to an American classic Bowie with a sharp clip point. The idea here is that my previous clip points, for example, on this knife, this was a hardened steel. I didn't have one, but I put a clip point on there, so I had to be careful. I didn't want to overheat the steel, so I just did one of these. But even though these are nice, these type of sharp clip points, they're much more difficult to sharpen than when you have a small micro bevel like this. And the benefit of this too is that it's very easy to keep the point sharp. If you damage that tip, you just sharpen here and sharpen there, and eventually it's going to become very pointy just by itself. A Pikal, like here, it's got no edge back here. It's got sharpening surfaces, but when you're sharpening one of these, if you drag that tip over the stone, you start to work that tip away, and then you don't have a tip. So Pikals are actually super difficult to sharpen. And this is kind of like the best of all worlds. You have both the Pikal and the blade on there. So if you want to make a fire, you want to do some skinning, you want to open boxes, you want to cut rope, you want to do everything. This is kind of like what you're down to. Granted, it's going to be fragile, more fragile than other blades. But again, how are you treating your knives? Are you stabbing them through doors? So I just wanted to do something that was like super basic. Very easy to carry, something very light. This is 120 grams, which is basically 5 ounces, a bit more than 5 ounces. So very light. And another thing too is I've been having fun doing these jute twine handles on these rivet locks because I think it really suits the character of the forged steel. It's coil springs for cars and industrial equipment. And it's forged under heat. It's cold forged. It's grind. I feel like the jute twine, not only does it have incredible grip, this is like insane grip. It just adds to that character of rawness. Oh my god. So, yeah, there was a bit of a third time today. Anyway, so where was I? Yeah, just something basic, something raw, something very knifey, something super utilitarian. If you want to defend yourself, this is like super nasty. Easy to maintain, and one of the beauties of the hollow grind. Now I know a lot of people don't like hollow grinds. I personally hate the paring knife, chef's knife grind that you find on so many American knives, which is your traditional V grind with a micro bevel. I don't like that at all. It's for kitchen knives, it's for paring knives. You sharpen that knife how many times? You sharpen that knife a few times, and now the thickness behind the edge is huge. It's no longer really all that nice. The beauty of a hollow grind is you can keep sharpening it for so long and it stays nice and thin behind the edge. So I like hollow grinds a lot. So Bob Lovelace loved hollow grinds. So many legends used hollow grinds. Isn't that nasty? Isn't that beautiful? So for a full utilitarian, knife, that you want to use for everything. This is kind of close to what it's going to be like, you know. On the next rivet lock Pulco medium that has the guard and pommel, I'll do a grind like that on there. I think it's gonna be sick. So this, but with that blade. You can see this one's been pretty much carried all over. I also did a shoulder there. This is actually, let's just quickly go. This is the sort of design that I had in mind to try on a few rivet lock Pulco Smalls. So a micro Bowie basically, with a hollow ground clip point and a hollow ground bevel, and then a flush jute twine handle. So basically just like that. There you go, simple, you know. By removing that finger choil, you can move the paracord all the way up. So if you're carving a lot, you don't have any exposed spine digging into your hand, which can be very uncomfortable. With these, it's no big deal, because actually when you're holding these, your palm just sits right there over it. So even though there is all that space here, when you're grabbing this like this and you're carving, that jute twine actually is right where you want it to be. There's number 200. By the way, I've seen people are starting to full blow copy these. No joke, completely. All the holes, the finger choil, the rivet lock, the sheath, they're copying the whole damn thing, making them out of stainless steel. It's unbelievable. And they're not claiming that they're copying, but it's obvious. So, yeah, if you want something like this, just contact me. I'm not going to make this like a standard part of a series. I think what I'm going to do with the rivet locks is go kind of experimental. I like to stick to standard stuff, but it's just so fun to experiment with new things and learn new things. And I've been really wanting to do this sharpened hollow ground clip point for a really long time now. So again, this is not trying to win any beauty contests, although it has in my books. I think it's kind of charming. It's very basic, very simple, lots of grip, very, you know, Western American cowboy blade. And I'm just gonna make more of these at some point, but yeah. And the sheath just clips in like that. Super nice. See, I don't do the taco sheaths anymore because they split down the spine. So I'll be testing this one out for a while. I got a few more blanks. I can make more of these too, but I gotta work on the scalpels. Number 39. This one is number 36. It's got a little rust on there. One thing I'd like to do as well is put that hollow ground clip point on one of these. But this is pretty heavy duty. You don't want to make it fragile, you know. And then I'd like to do a twine handle on one of these as well. What I might do is do a twine handle underneath the paracord, just to add a little bulk on there. So these have been, you can see I've been having a little fun with making those jute twine handles. Apparently they're super popular. People really very much like these, so they've been selling off. But yeah, I didn't want to make this video 9 minutes long. I wanted to make it like 4 minutes long. So this is just a fun experiment, something light. Again, just a basic knife that you can use for skinning, gutting, making fires, EDC, self-defense, just for everything knife, you know, very basic EDC. everything knife. It's got all the elements that you need from a Pikal. It's got all the elements you need from a Skinner. It's got all the elements you need for a dagger. And it's super lightweight, 120 grams, basically 5 ounces plus. The grip is incredibly grippy. This jute twine, why I'm digging it, is just so super duper grippy. And yeah, that's all there is to it, guys, today. And I'll let you guys go. Yeah, people are starting to copy my work. Call them out, please.